be talking about compliance today. Our webinar is going to be focused about global compliance from the perspective of Corpay, and then kind of the wallet architecture from the Xtrm side. So once again, thank you guys all for joining us today. I hope your summer's off to a great start. My name is Lev Gamaley. I'm the VP of Revenue Operations at Xtrm, and I'll be your moderator today. And we'll be unpacking how money moves across borders while keeping compliance front and center. So if you guys do have any questions during the duration of our call, we kind of want it to be more of a discussion. So if you guys want, just keep those questions in mind. You guys can drop them in the chat at any point, and then we'll address them at the end in the QA session. So first and foremost, we have Rita Sabri joining us today from the head of North American Compliance at Corpay. So thank you, Rita. Everyone can drop a little high five or a little handshake in the chat. And then as well, thank you. And then we also have Bill Taibl, the Chief Revenue Officer at Xtrm, joining us. So thanks again, Bill, for your time as well. And so to do a kind of a brief overview and give us an introduction into what we're going to be talking about today, Rita, can you give us a 30-second quick little 30,000-foot overview of what Corpay does?
Sure, I will. Thank you so much for that, Lev. So thank you for the opportunity. To be honest, I'm really excited to be here today to introduce Corpay cross-border. So as a couple of you know, Corpay is a global payment provider that enables businesses to send and receive cross-border payments efficiently, securely, and also in compliance with evolving regulatory standards. In addition to the cross-border payments, Corpay also provides FX conversion services for clients with treasury management needs. At Corpay Cross-Border, we make payments globally, leveraging local relationship. Currently, we partner with more than 100 cross-border banks and counterparty trading institutions in 6 continents. At Corpay, we aim to deliver unmatched service and expertise with respect to moving money globally, utilizing our payments automation technology and our currency risk mitigation solution. Corpay has regional headquarters in Toronto, London, and Sydney. Our clients are Tier 1 global financial institutions, regional banks, regional national governments, international NGOs and charities, and also we provide services to small to medium-sized businesses around the globe. Corpay's API-based platform also allows clients to seamlessly embed payments functionality into their system, ensuring real-time processing, end-to-end transparency, and strong internal controls at scale.
Thank you for that overview. Apologies, I'm muted once again. So, Bill, I guess kind of the same question from your perspective. That's a pretty comprehensive overview, though. So, I guess just briefly, what does Xtrm do, and what is the services that Xtrm provides?
Yeah, so Xtrm, we are a global payments provider as well, leveraging Corpay as our partner for most of our global wires and EFTs. We also have services where payees can direct payments to gift cards domestically in US dollars as well. Basically, that's what we enable. We enable our clients to provide payments to payees, and for the payees to then choose how they want to get paid on a global scale, in local currency, quickly through technology, as Rita was saying, APIs, in-app experience, or even widgets and Salesforce integrations and other integration processes. So we kind of connect with the connective tissue between the clients and all of the offerings that Corpay offers.
Sweet. Thank you for that. So to jump into the conversation now that we kind of know what the coverage and the scope is for both Corpay and Xtrm, we can go, kind of deeper into the conversation and start to understand, the nuances of Corpay. So we'll start with Rita. So for, viewers that are new to Corpay, Rita, would you be able to outline the scale of the global payment networks, the currencies, the licensing footprint, and the typical daily volumes that you guys, see?
Okay, sure. Thanks for the question. So happy to provide an overview to people who are new to Corpay. Let's just start with this. At the heart of what we do is helping businesses move money across borders with speed, security, and compliance. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to give you a quick sense of the scale of our global payments network. As you're probably aware, the Corpay is one of the world's largest non-bank provider of global payment, FX, and risk management solution. We support payments in over 145 currencies, including 130 exotic currencies, allowing our customers to send funds to more than 200 countries worldwide. In 2023, we made more than 4.1 million payments and 108 billion traded in FX also in 2023. When it comes to our licensing, since Corpay operates in different parts of the globe, we are holding money transmitter licenses or equivalent authorizations across key jurisdictions, including in US, we are licensed by FinCEN. In Canada, we're licensed as an MSP by FinTrack. And also we do have license in UK, the EU, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and Jersey. And so this broad footprint ensures that we meet local compliance obligations and deliver reliable services at scale. On a typical day, of course, Corpay processes billions of dollars in cross-border and domestic payments, including FX conversion, on behalf of thousands of our businesses. Currently, we provide services to more than 30,000 active customers around the globe. It's a combination of corporation and personal accounts. Our infrastructure is built to handle high volume and high value while maintaining compliance, transparency, and of course, speed. So this skills allows us to serve a wide range of our clients, from small businesses to large enterprises, with the confidence that their global payment are being met securely and competently. And what I would like to add here is what makes us unique in our market is our ability to embed compliance controls like real-time screening, name verification directly into our payment flow. So for businesses that they have complex global operation, we can help them scale without any friction.
Very nice. So I guess to kind of fit in like a Lego piece with the powerhouse that Corpay is in terms of processing, I guess, Bill, from the Xtrm side, where does the wallet-centric architecture fit into that global network? And, why is it kind of unique and the missing layer in most of these payout stacks that we're seeing across the board?
Sure. So the wallet-centric payout structure allows for a company to pay a payee into a wallet, and then that payee then to enter and manage bank details directly. What does that mean? That means that companies that utilize the Xtrm Corpay network no longer need to collect, maintain, manage, and store bank details. That's eliminating that security risk. We also help companies with 1099s and ensuring that they're secure through us. And our fast API infrastructure allows for quick development into any kind of stack that is required. Corpay allows us to then broadly pay around the world in a compliant fashion for those companies making payments. They also then run through the screening as Rita was going through, so OFAC screening and a litany of other lists that each individual payee gets screened through to ensure compliance and regulatory compliance around the world. So Corpay is a piece of Xtrm that allows us to become global.
Sweet. So I guess right now, I know we just spoke about, the compliance trends and things kind of changing. I know that, currently there's kind of an update with the big, beautiful bill and increasing the, necessity for reporting, certain kinds of transactions. And I know, there's a lot of nuance in the industry right now. So back to Rita with this, how does, Corpay see the top 3 regulatory trends, in payout platforms coming up right now? So, what are the things that people need to focus on when they're trying to set up these, these cross-global payments and make sure that they're being compliant?
Great question again. I think there are a couple of major regulatory trends payout platform that out there that absolutely anyone within the compliance pool should watch. In my opinion, one of them is what I have seen is a global shift towards real-time transaction, real-time payments. And with that comes real-time regulatory expectation. So whether it's in the US, so whether it's a EU instant payment regulation or the US FedNow system, regulators now expect instant fraud detection, sanction screening, and even pay verification, all before the funds go. So what this means, it means that operationally we have to be fast and compliant at the same time. So before we do the transaction, we have to ensure that there is no fraud happening with that transaction. We have to do sanction screening on the remitters name, on the beneficiary's name, on the bank's name, no matter it's a beneficiary's bank name, and also the pay name verification. So these has to be happened before we move the money. So we have to be really fast. The second trend that I'm seeing is crypto and stable coin regulation is no longer optional. You may heard in the news that in the EU, MiCA kicks in for stable coins this June. And also in the US, we are likely to see new federal laws that treat stable coins issuers like banks. What that means is that if you are on crypto or traditional rails, travel rules compliance is not a global standard. So for the payout platforms, that means they need to do more proper due diligence on any crypto linked products and making sure that those transactions are fully integrated into their AML program. And the third one that I can think of is that there is also a growing focus on non-bank financial platforms, especially with the rise of open banking and things like buy now, pay later. In the US, I know that the open banking rule is going to require platforms to provide consumer API-based access to their data. And so if they are offering cross-border payments or something like that, paying for financing, regulators now they're asking that you need to be, if you look like a financial institution, you also need to be treated like one. So what's the common, if we look at these 3 trends, what is the common across all these 3 is that regulator wants us to be faster, safer, and more transparent payment ecosystem. And ultimately, it's not just about checking the compliance box, It's all about building trust and reliance into our program, into our compliance structure.
Got you. So with the increasing, requirements and the more stringent requirements for transparency, speed, and security, I guess, Xtrm fits in sort of a way with the reporting and the wallet structure. And so, Bill, how does Xtrm, track funds at the wallet level to maintain real-time end-to-end audit trail and kind of be, in line with the requirements that Rita just mentioned with the clients?
Sure. I mean, first of all, I'd like to say, with the rise in real-time payments, it's obviously probably the hottest topic in global payments and even domestic payments. So the wallet structure does supply that type of security that Rita is talking about. Imagine a scenario where you're passing bank instructions back and forth. Generally and historically, that's been through some sort of email type of process. Well, email is not secure, as we all know, and I think anybody that's been in payments for any length of time has seen where emails get compromised, or there's several different ways that emails can get compromised and utilized for nefarious people. Unfortunately, those people are always ahead of. It pays better to be a crook sometimes than it does to be the good guys, right? At least in the short term. Long term, it probably doesn't, but the short term, it sometimes does. So with our architecture, we start to help prevent that. Instead of passing details back and forth with banks, with your bank details, you can pass this directly to your clients, to your partners. Your payees can pass it directly to you as well. Starts to eliminate the necessity for emails and utilizes secure processes through our app. So that's the first piece, I would say, in terms of security. Second piece, I would say, is through our wallet infrastructure, we have real-time reporting, we have full-time tracking across organizations, users, currencies, payment methods. We ensure complete transparency and control. The wallet activity is logged instantly. It's accessible through real-time reporting that can be available through a number of different types of formats and all downloadable. So in terms of auditing and watching that trail, you have that capability as well. So it's not only being able to secure your data, the data you're paying into, the payee data, but it's also being able to monitor exactly when funds are remitted, the allocation that they take. Those different things can all be tracked through infrastructure and reports, and that's either through downloadable reports or via the API, which most of our clients candidly utilize our APIs for that real-time reporting and infrastructure management.
Got you. So that makes a lot of sense, and thank you for the explanation, Bill. So I kind of wanted to probably read a little bit more and jump back to the question that we kind of just visited before. With the 3 top regulatory trends that payout platforms are seeing right now, I kind of want to go back and see what's under the hood, with the things that you guys are seeing in the compliance sector of Corpay. So Rita, could you possibly walk us through, how Corpay operationalizes the actual KYC and the AML processes that we're mentioning, and the real-time transaction monitoring across multiple jurisdictions to make sure that things are, within the compliance regulatory requirements?
Absolutely. Try just to minimize it. So, for companies like Corpay that we are that operating across multiple jurisdictions, it means that we can take a one-size-fits-all approach to compliance. So at Corpay, what we have done, operationalizing our KYC, AML, and real-time transaction monitoring across multiple jurisdictions, of course, involves a layered and risk-based approach. So what we have done here, we started with a global compliance framework that aligns to core international standards like FATF, but then we localize it based on a specific regulatory expectation in each jurisdiction that we operate. That means understanding not just the rules but the regulatory culture. Whether we are dealing with FinTrack in Canada, FinCEN in US, the FCA in the UK, or Austrac in Australia. So when it comes to know your customer, we use a tiered onboarding model driven by customers' use type, geographic location of our customers, and the product usage. Our system designed that enforce mandatory data collection based on local regulation. For example, what is the regulatory requirement when it comes to client identification in Canada by FinTrack versus in MAS in Singapore. But we also apply a group-wide control. So group-wide control comes for PEP screening. What we do for PEP screening, what is our procedure, what is our policy in respect to PEP screening or adverse legal, or the same things for beneficial owner. No matter where our customer is located, our policy for confirm verification and identification of the beneficial owner stays the same. Or the example I can give you is when it comes to clients under that, we do onboard customer under MSP vertical or crypto. So these customers then definitely we need to conduct enhanced due diligence on them. What we collect in addition to what is our global policy says, in Canada, we need to collect more information for these two verticals. That means that we need to ensure that we need to obtain their licensing or registration document. We have to ensure that they are the license is valid. Their ownership transparency information, including who is the ultimate beneficial owner, especially the one behind the layered structure, or if the ownership involves trust. Compliance documentation such as the AML program, the most recent independent audit summaries, or details on the customer due diligence procedure. How do they conduct EDD or DD on the CDD on their customers? So our system applies enhanced due diligence for the clients that they are high risk, integrating PEP screening, adverse media, and real-time verification of their license. When it comes to the AML, the same things, we have a standardized core policy across our enterprise, but also allow local expectation where regulation differs. So our AML program is backed by centralized oversight with periodic audits, gap analysis, just to ensure that we are not over or under complying in any region. And for our real-time transaction monitoring, this is where it gets interesting. Because we operate a centralized transaction monitoring system that applies whole risk scenario globally, but we also include restriction rules and thresholds. For example, when it comes to reporting suspicious activity, the threshold for that in Canada may differ from what triggers alerts in the US or Australia. So we also ensure that our monitoring incorporates cross-border behavioral patterns when it comes to transaction monitoring, not just isolated activity. That helps us to surface typologies, different typologies like layering, account takeovers, or trade-based money laundering in real time.
Gotcha. Very interesting. Then detailed answer. So I appreciate that. I guess, just to segue directly into Bill, it seems like there's a lot of things that are required for being, within compliance, and that adds, friction in the onboarding process and for people signing up for the payment platform of Xtrm. So, to continue with that question, Bill, how does Xtrm keep compliant yet seamless worldwide with the KYC and AML requirements, in various regions?
So I mean, the standard requirement is we take we ask our clients, our remitters, to provide the details that gets us to the point where we are satisfying those requirements. We then, in consultation with Corpay, review those requirements to fully onboard those clients. After that point, once we've onboarded the remitters making the payments, we also have registration processes for the payees where we collect address detail and a litany of other a couple other requirements that make sure we know not only who is paying but who they are paying, to ensure complete compliance. And what our partnership does is it allows, through our integration, allows all payments that go through our ecosystem, at least cross-border payments outside of the U.S., to run through Corpay's system for all screening efforts that they need to do as well. So it's actually, in some ways, we are doing a dual compliance screening type of process here. We have our own, it passes our own, then goes to Corpay. So we're keeping it extremely secure, extremely compliant. The last thing we want to do, even though sometimes we understand that there are headaches with compliance and requirements, and hey, why do you need this form, and all of that stuff. Please realize that the purpose of that is to keep everybody on sides safe and knowledgeable about what is happening within the process. Again, you go back to these real-time payments, the opportunity for bad actors in that space is pretty vast. So we want to stop that at all measures we can, and collectively in our partnership, that's what we do.
Gotcha. So it makes a lot of sense, for making sure that everything is, streamlining, kind of collecting the information on the back end where it needs to be. All makes a lot of sense. So as far as, going back to Rita with another question for Corpay, I know that, with the KYC and the AML, I'm going to keep repeating myself, with the requirements changing, so frequently and so much, as well as the sanctions, changing so frequently and so often, with the global politics going on. It's kind of it's a landmine landscape. So could you walk us, through Corpay's cadence for refreshing the OFAC, EU, and UN sanction lists, and, how you guys minimize errors and false positives without sacrificing, the speed of transactions?
Sure. What I can do, I can walk you through how we manage sanction screening, particularly how we reduce false positive while staying current and compliant. So let's start with this. Our sanction lists are updated daily by our third-party screening provider. For example, if OFAC designates a new entity today, that update is reflected in our screening system the same day, ensuring that we are always working with the most current data. Secondly, we have built logic into our transaction screening platform to cut down on unnecessary manual reviews. So what we do, we use custom false positive rules to suppress common non-risk alerts, things like name matches that are known to be low risk or frequently triggered due to generic text. And finally, when our team manually clears an alert as a false positive, that name is added to our internal whitelist. It won't, and that name won't trigger again unless there is a material change either to the name profile or to the sanction list itself. So together with these strategies, significantly reduce alerts, number of our alerts and help our analysts focus on what truly matters, which is the real risk.
Very nice. So it's good. It's good that you guys are so rapid, despite all the hurdles that you guys need to jump over and, remain within the guides of compliance. And I know collecting all this information and making sure that the AML and KYC process is complete is difficult in itself, but there's also the difficult aspect on the back end of once you've collected the KYC and AML data, how do you hold that data? So Bill, the question's for you, how does the sensitive PII data get stored with Xtrm, and, how has it been an issue in the past storing that data?
Sure. So let's go historically first. Historically, companies would need to store that data within an ERP, a CRM, or some sort of system where they would acquire and then store payment detail. Specifically, when you're making mass payments, that's a lot of detail to store. You also then needed to secure that data to ensure, obviously, none of that data gets out. The last thing anybody wants is banking details to get dispersed out. So at Xtrm, what we do is we have enterprise grade security practices. First of all, we've got MFA, or multi-factor authentication, advanced encryption safeguards to access and to transmit the data. In addition, we leverage tools, kind of best-in-class tools like Siphons, which provides an extra layer of secure user verification over your standard MFA and SMS messaging. We've gone beyond that. That helps us to ensure that only authorized users and only authorized people can get into the sensitive information of bank detail. We hold that dear, and that's one of our the Xtrm strengths, is just staying as advanced as possible from a security standpoint.
Great. That's good to hear. I mean, from the from payments world, security is front and center for everybody here. So it's very good to know that all the data that's going to be stringent is going to be secured, stored away in the castle like it needs to be. So good to hear from that regard. I guess from back to Rita, and I'm going to keep digging on this KYC and AML stuff that we mentioned, but I know that Corpay has a lot of moving pieces, and everything keeps changing in terms of the requirements from the compliance landscape, as well as just the sanctioning and the political landscape as well. So as far as prioritizing the compliance initiatives across jurisdictions, how do you guys maintain that, and how do you guys use your regulatory expectations and experience to sort of create that funnel and prioritize things?
Thanks, Lev. Great questions. So this is the one we face regularly as a cross-border organization. So we prioritize compliance initiatives through a risk-based and impact-driven framework that balances regulatory urgency, business exposure, and also our customer impact. So we start with a jurisdictional heat map that assess the regulatory maturity, recent or upcoming rule changes, or also business volume and exposure in each market. This helps us to identify where we must act quickly. For example, if there is a new regulatory requirements coming in place, or versus where we can pause in enhancement. So which one we have to prioritize it? The regulatory changes we need to put focus, or the enhancement that we had in our mind. The second things that we use to prioritize our project or any changes is through a risk appetite alignment. We overlay this with our internal risk appetite and determine where there are misalignments, such as restrictions, where onboarding practices or transaction behaviors pose elevated risk. That's where we focus, enhanced control, KYC uplift, or real-time monitoring improvement. The third one is the head of each compliance region needs to be maintain a regular engagement with the local regulators or with our peers in our industry. These help us to stay ahead of both formal changes and regulatory expectations that might not be out yet, but they may come in future. So that keeps us to be aware from for good changes. The other things that we use is centralizing program, local executions. So while our core compliance framework is centralized, execution is always localized. This means our initiatives are always at the global. So every time when we think about a new initiative, we look at that at what's going to be the impact at the global, but we also look at the local adaptability as well. And we use governance forums to ensure alignment across regions. Ultimately, in my mind, it's all about dynamic prioritization. We do not treat compliance as static. We continuously review our risk postures, regulatory obligation, and operational impact, just to ensure that we are deploying resources where they are most needed and most effective.
It's the centralized way to manage things is actually interesting. That's not how I would have perceived it originally, but it's good to know that there's always something to catch any kind of malicious activity and prioritize it in the right manner. And thank you for that overview, Rita. That's very good to understand more about the Corpay compliance structure and how you guys navigate the bumpy landscape in that regard. So thank you for that answer. But I guess for as far as our discussion has gone, we've kind of touched on the compliance and the coverage side of things. I guess just to bring this all back to reality, Bill, could you share a joint customer story that shows how both the rails from Corpay and Xtrm's wallet architecture have both kind of puzzled together to be a great solution for someone?
Yeah, this is the why does all this stuff matter? We've been talking for 40 minutes. Why does it matter? It's to help our clients, our collective clients, right? It's the most exciting part. And no, I'm biased here, but it's the most exciting part of our job is to help clients to activate payments in a more global payments in an easier, faster, and compliant way. So I'll give an instance of a new client that came on board. They've recently onboarded with us. What they were looking to do is make massive payments, execute thousands of payments each month globally across multiple jurisdictions in several different currencies. They wanted to fund all of that activity in a single currency. So fund the US dollars and do the conversion and the payouts. The challenge with mass pay types of products is again, I'll go back to it's the collection piece. So if you have thousands of payments you need to make each month, you have thousands of beneficiaries you need to collect data on each month in order to execute payments around the world. And then you have different requirements from different currencies and jurisdictions and all of this. So we're able to help consolidate that. They basically give us the list of payees that they want to pay. They pay into our wallet, and then the payees enter their bank detail, and they can execute while settling with us, settling directly in US dollars. So they no longer needed to rely on their internal AP teams to manage sensitive data. We automated the collection process up for them. And if you can imagine, let's say every collection process takes 1 minute and you've got 1,000 beneficiaries to pay. That's 1,000 minutes of effort that you've saved of these people doing this work. And that's the nonstop narrative, right? That's 1,000 minutes of nonstop work. And obviously people take breaks and they leave work and they, all of that stuff, and they have lunch and all that. So this helps to eliminate that for those AP teams, and really takes that kind of mind-numbing work off of them and sits it on our platform. It also reduced for them the error rate. So part of the challenge is, okay, you're consuming this and now you're keystroking into a platform, and you're obviously going to have transposition, you're going to have error rates, which cause further challenges and eroding of some of your partnerships you have with those payees. So we help to eliminate that, any change in bank detail, all of that stuff. We eliminated that process for them. So we saved them a ton of time. But with the combination of the platform and saving them time and Corpay's network, we're able to send payments again globally to, I believe it's 180 countries, or 180, 200 countries and 150 currencies, wires and EFTs seamlessly, quickly, compliant, and all the regulatory check boxes are met, as well as the screenings are met. So it's a great example of how, we don't just provide the tools. Our collective partnership doesn't just provide the tools, but we provide, solutions that scale, simplify, and make obviously measurable difference, which makes this partnership so incredible and is what clients that come to Xtrm and Corpay collectively get. So that was one example. We've got hundreds of those examples and are looking forward to helping others find that benefit as well.
Thank you for that overview. I think it's important to highlight, it's none of this would be possible really without the underlying, beautiful structure that Corpay has put together. It gives us the confidence with Xtrm to be able to, have the wallet architecture sitting on top of those rails and have, full confidence that you can distribute internationally without kind of issues. Just to re-highlight, what you mentioned there, Bill. And that kind of, for today's webinar, that kind of completes it. So really thank you guys for your time today, Rita and Bill, for, taking the time out of your day to come and educate, our clients and, well, myself as well, just kind of about the compliance landscape and really how the things are working, behind the scenes. So as far as our discussion today, you guys answered everything I was looking to learn about. I really appreciate that. We can go ahead and open to the live Q&A now. So if you guys did have any questions during that webinar, I'm going to go ahead and look at the chat now and start there. So far, I don't see any questions. So if anyone does have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead and throw them out there. Oh, I did see one question come in via email. So let me address this one question that I see so far. And if, again, guys, don't be shy. If there's any other additional questions, feel free to, jump in here while we're discussing. So the first question, maybe the only question that I'm seeing is, what's the single biggest compliance pitfall companies underestimate when they first start paying out internationally? So I guess this may be kind of a question for both of you guys, but Rita, if you want to start with that, sort of what do people not foresee when they're trying to distribute payments?
So I think many companies assume that once they are registered or licensed in one country, they can just passport that registration internationally. For example, they register as MSP in Canada. Okay, now I can go and do business because I do have a license in US or in the UK. But the reality is cross-border payouts often trigger local money transmission effects or e-money license requirement. No matter if you have license in Canada, if you want to act as an MSP in UK, you need to get a license there, or in Australia, you need to get license with Austria. If it doesn't matter even if you are just acting as a facilitator, some jurisdiction treat marketing or onboarding from abroad as regulated activity, because that's what we do at Corpay as well. If we get a new customer that they are MSP, just for MSP in Canada, but they want to provide services to customer in UK, they need to be licensed there. On the top of that, AML expectations are not uniform, but count as sufficient KYC in one country may be non-compliant in another company. For example, some regulator requires local beneficiary verification or real-time sanction screening or data localization, which can really complicate onboarding and monitoring workflow if you're not familiar or registered with that countries as a money service businesses. So you can use one license to do businesses in other jurisdictions.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. It's a little bit of a vague question, but I appreciate the overview there and the detailed explanation. I'm not seeing any additional questions in the chat here, so I think we'll be able to conclude the chat. I'm going to do a quick little overview before we jump here. So, the key takeaway from today is going to be, focusing on combining Corpay's license payment rails with Xtrm's wallet level controls that give you, a dual layer of compliance framework. So if you guys do have any questions about, utilizing anything that we talked about today, either from the Corpay side of things or from the Xtrm side of things, please do not be shy to reach out. Once again, we're in short reach here. The next steps for you guys will be, again, if you guys want, reach out for a tailored demo. You guys will be able to look up for the follow-up deck in your inbox. We'll keep you guys posted on our upcoming webinars as well. And we will be posting a white paper on global payment compliance as well in the following 2 weeks. So, once again, guys, just to recap, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy days, controlling the world of payments, so to come and educate us. So once again, thank you guys for your time. I'll have a great rest of your guys' day. Talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lev. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.